So now we're going to go ahead and start with an upper lip waxing service. And I've already sanitized my hands, I have my gloves on, we had a nice consultation about what my guest is looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the service. With one reminder to you, that reminder would be, remember when we are applying our wax, we want to apply in the direction of hair growth, and then to remove against the direction of hair growth. So let's take a look at how the hair grows in the lip area, and then we'll get started with our cleanse. So in the lip area, the hair is generally going to be growing down and down and down, and then usually around this area of the lip. It could continue growing down, but in most cases it's actually going to change direction and start going in this direction. And then the second little reminder is that we always want to make sure that we stretch this area in the corner of the mouth, because we don't want to leave any little hairs left in that area. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and start with the Satin Cleanser. And Satin Cleanser is a great product to start with because it's going to remove any makeup, cosmetics, or anything that's on the skin that would interfere with the waxing service. And it's very gentle on the skin, doesn't compromise the skin or dry it out in any way that's going to lead to any bad effects with the waxing service. And one of the nice things about this cleanser too, and I'm seeing it on you, Jayla, especially, is it has glycerin in it, and the glycerin actually helps the hairs to be more noticeable. They kind of stand up and wave at you then, so it's very easy to see which direction they're growing in, so that we can make sure we're applying the wax and removing it in the correct direction. So I'm going to just dip the applicator. I can see that my temperature is really great by looking at the consistency of the wax. It's not running right off of the applicator, but it's not clumping up either. So I've got wax on one side, which is where I want it. So I'm going to clean the back side so I can see where the product is. And I'm going to begin by stretching her skin, holding it taut. And I'm going to apply right in the middle, going down in the direction of hair growth, and then right next to it. So you can see I'm going in sections, keeping it taut the whole time. And here I'm going to change direction. And then I'm going to come right in this little corner and make sure we cover this area as well, not to leave a little stray behind. We have a couple of little wax lines here that I'm going to just smooth out, because that means that there's more product in that area. And you'd like to have a nice even application. You don't want it thicker in some spots than others. Okay, and then I'm going to use our rectangular shape removal strip. And I'm using the non-woven. And I'm going to press it into the skin. I'm not going to rub back and forth. Rubbing back and forth can cause a lot of heat or friction in the skin, which brings redness. So we want to avoid that as much as we are able to. So we're just pressing it in, and then I'm actually going to give a nice firm stretch, placing my thumb right where that strip is connecting with the skin. And I'm going to press in towards her face. I'm not going to pull her face down because nobody likes the way that feels. And then I'm going to take this side and kind of do the same thing with this finger right here. And the removal is, again, follow through with your arm ending up straight, your wrist straight, and the finger goes immediately to the spot. That's to help soothe the nerve endings. So that was my slow motion movement. Now I'm going to go ahead and move my way over to the center, finishing off with the center. I'm going to fold the strip. It can be reused. We don't need to use a new strip each and every time. Stretching the skin and finding my little spot. The smaller sections you do, the more comfortable it's going to feel to your guest. And we're just going to move right along here, pressing and removing, stretching the skin as we go. And in the little spots where there is a little bit of residue left, we're just going to come right here and press hold the skin stable, remove. And again, we're doing a full follow through. We're not doing any little snap ups of this kind of thing. Because when you're taking the trouble and the time to do the follow through all the way, that's so that you don't snap the skin, lift the skin, or cause any redness. If you were to come back and lift just like this to remove any residue, you're just crossing out everything that you did the right way, because that is going to irritate the skin and cause it to be red. So I was standing on the side that I was waxing for this side of her lip. So I'm going to go to the other side and wax that side of the lip before I continue on with the service. Okay, so I'd like you to take just a second and look at the difference between the side that we just did and the side that we're going to do now. It really does leave a nice, fresh, clean look to the skin. Makes a difference. So one thing that I would like to remind you at this point is that you always want to remember not to double dip, and I'm sure most of you are very familiar with what double dipping is. It would mean going in and applying wax to the applicator and then actually using it on my guest, and then going back and reapplying or re-dipping the same applicator into the wax and coming back and using it again. And we all know that that's not good sanitary practices. That's how you can contaminate the whole pot of wax. So with that said, I'm going to start with a new applicator and dipping into my warmer, and I'm going to go ahead and stretch her lips, just holding them very stable in place. And as I come close to that vermilion border, or the border where the skin changes from the face skin to the lip skin, I'm going to actually kind of scoop it up to make sure that, number one, we get any hairs that were growing in that area. We don't want to leave any behind, but also to make sure that we're protecting that area, because we don't want to actually wax the lip tissue. Okay, and we've got that little corner covered right here as well. Get rid of this applicator because its job is done. So I'm going to go ahead and do this in sections, placing our strip on a small section on the outer corner first, and pressing in with this finger into the cheek, the thumb at the bottom, and moving it along. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold that over, and just stabilizing that area there, moving right along towards the center of the lip and pressing, and again stabilizing the skin and removing. And the last one being right towards the center. And here is the part that's going to, well, where your guest is going to feel it most, if they feel it at all. And so you want to make sure that you are really stabilizing the skin here. So I'm going to use my middle finger and really press against her upper lip there and right up. And there was no snapping at all, which is really nice. There's a little bit of residue left right here, and I'm going to remove that using full follow through each time. Now we're going to go ahead and get a small amount of satin release on the back of my glove, and what that's going to do is remove any residue that was left behind. It's better to remove it that way rather than to continue removing it with the strip that you were using to remove the wax itself. If I didn't see any residue left, I would still use the product, because even though you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. But I probably would just apply it directly to the skin without using the cotton round. But since I can see that there's some shiny areas, I know that we had some residue, so I want to make sure to have it all come away. And being very gentle with the removal, because I don't want to, again, cause any stimulation to the skin, any undue stimulation or friction or redness. Okay, and now for my favorite step for our guest at this point is some Satin Cool. It's a very cool product. Feels very cooling and soothing to the skin. It has aloe vera in it. which we know is great whenever there's irritation to the skin, like a sunburn. And we have one more step to do, and that is finishing off the lip waxing service. And I'm going to do that using the Satin Hydrate. And what this is going to do is it's a light moisturizer for the area, and it's going to help the restoration process of the barrier of the skin. When you're waxing and you're using a strip wax, you know that you're actually removing those top layers of dead skin cells. So it's kind of leaving the skin out there and open. So the post products that you use are very important to make sure that the skin is in great condition when you're done with your guests, when their service is finished. And the Satin Hydrate is a good step in ensuring that. Okay, so let me help you sit up here, Jayla. Well, Jayla, you look beautiful. This completes our Satin Smooth waxing service for today. Thank you.